Hello, welcome to part 10 of this Learning JavaScript video series. Today we are going to look at some errors and error handling examples. So let's get started. Let's start with an example. Console.log some drink, and let's save to run it here. Uncut reference error. Some drink is not defined. So reference error means we're trying to use a name that doesn't exist anywhere. JavaScript can't find it. Usually a typo or a variable we meant to declare and didn't. All right, let's do another example. Another error, uncut error example. Console.log, and now let's try to access a property of drink that does not exist. Save. There, uncut, and now it's an error named TypeError. A TypeError means the value exists, but we're trying to do something to it that its type does not support. Here, reaching for .name on null, which isn't an object. Null is not an object and doesn't have properties at all. So this is another very common type of error. Let's do another example. Function make drink. It's going to take a parameter name and then block of code, and then we're gonna console.log name. Pretty normal, right? If we save, nothing happens. Well, if we try to run it, make drink, and then with a name, there, console logs the name. But if we now on purpose, let's make a mistake of forgetting a parenthesis here on the syntax. Save. There, another uncut error, and now this one's name is syntax error. So a syntax error means JavaScript couldn't even understand the shape of what we wrote. In this case, it's a missing bracket and unmatched quote. So this one's usually with these modern text editors, they are easy to spot because we don't even have to run it and it starts. Here it displays red and squiggly lines everywhere. Here's a red parenthesis. So usually when there is a syntax error, the editor is smart enough and it detects it and tells us. Right. So those were three very typical kind of errors. Now let's try and catch an error. Handling errors on purpose. When we had an error before, it said uncut and then some error. So now we are going to try to catch an error. All right, let's do an example. All right, so let's write a function. function get drink price, and we are gonna need what drink and then our block of code. And if drink has the value and type latte, then run this block of code. Return 4.5. And if drink does not equal to latte, then here's a keyword. Throw. And this is some JavaScript syntax, new error. And then we do not have that drink. Okay. Let's just equal get drink price mocha. So we'll go by parts. First, let's call the function and on purpose with an error. So let me save. Here we are back to where we were with an uncaught error. And here's the message we specified. We don't have that drink at get drink price at line 10. So when we called it here, we got to the get drink price and then produced an error uncut. So now let's try to catch that error. So the syntax is like this. We do try and then a block of code. And then we are gonna roll here. Well, before the try, because I did not, this is my mistake, const price. If I save, it's the same thing, uncut error. All right, now let's try to catch it. Try. Or not, let's try to catch it. Let's catch it. But the syntax is like this. So we try something, and in this case, we are gonna try to execute this code. And we console.log the price, and then we catch the error and then some code. Console.log the error. Something went wrong, and then concatenate the handful of syntax, right? All right, so we are gonna run it with Mocha. So this is the same error. Control S, there. But now we cut the error, so the program did not break. It did like an if else thing. If when trying to do this we get an error, don't break, just display this message. We don't have the drink. So this is the purpose of this catching errors, that our code does not break and it does something and then continues running. right? So let me just try it with latte. So no error at all. Displays what it's supposed to do, which is a get a drink price. And then get drink price Americano. Again, something went wrong. We did not do that. So what's the purpose of this? Like I mentioned a bit earlier, try something, and if it works, great. And if it does not, don't break. Just display that something went wrong. And especially when what we are getting here, the get drink price depends on this code right here. But sometimes we get prices from a server, from an SQL, a database. And if the database is down, or code that does not depend on our code right here, so we try to get the price. And sometimes if it fails, so our web page does not break, we detect the error and just display something went wrong. We could not fetch the price for the coffee. Please try again. And then sometimes you reload and it works, right? And if we did not try and we get an error, the page breaks. And we get a photo something or some error. I don't know. Anyways, so this was the brief video about errors and brief error handling. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one. Thank you for watching.